Two of you, three of you, I don't know. Who knows? Welcome to Selling 101. This is a live stream, which is surprising, where we're going to talk about sales, marketing, just maybe tools to engage in general, and hopefully it'll give you a little bit of insight into the sales process and maybe more importantly, how to do it in the digital age. I think, for me, this is going to be a little exploration into what sales in 2022 and beyond looks like as well. So we're going to be talking about sales topics, but I'll be honest, I'm going to be selling at the same time because nothing's free, right? So yeah. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself in a second, but first, let's get the selling out of the way, huh? So, today's episode is sponsored by CartEval. CartEval is an easy e-commerce compatibility tester. You may have used automated testing platforms in the past if you're a developer. CartEval is really specifically focused on e-commerce. So making sure that you don't break your cart, your checkout process, really anything that's involved in the buy process on the e-commerce site. As we know, if you break the cart, you broke the site. So go to CartEval, sign up for the beta there. You can learn about how CartEval can make it simple for you to push new code and guarantee that you're not going to break the most important functionality of an e-commerce website. CartEval, that's CartEval.com. Check it out. Our second sponsor of the day is Novum. Novum is a digital services provider, really a mobile and web app development agency. They're really provide world-class development services at a low price with great experts from design and development to e-commerce, just really any experts that you need. Novum can provide as a one-stop shop. So go to Novum, NOVVUM.io to learn more. Cool. So let's get back to the episode here, should we? All right, let's go back up to just my main screen here. Have a little bit of fun. So, why am I doing this? Who am I? Why can I be hosting a live stream called Selling 101? Well, my name is Matt Zimmer. I'm I guess you'd call me a serial entrepreneur. I call myself a serial entrepreneur, so we'll go with it. Started quite a few businesses, raised money for even more businesses, whether it's mine or helping other companies raise cash. Have also recently kind of left running my own businesses to run another business. And really, I'm an engineer by heart. And what I mean by that is I got my undergrad in mechanical engineering from the University of Michigan, my graduate degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Michigan, and then got a master's from UC Irvine, got my MBA at UC Irvine. Anyway, the point is, I'm really an engineer by heart, and actually the first kind of real job that I had was working for a company called Niagara Bottling, and they are the largest private label bottler in the Western Hemisphere. And that job really involved, kind of it was really project management. It was really I basically built manufacturing facilities around the United States. So was, you know, took that mechanical engineering degree and really used a lot of the engineering principles and practices, but wasn't doing any core kind of engineering. Was really managing people and processes that relied on engineering. From there, kind of at the end of that, I did my MBA and then went on to start my first company, which is a company called Stacked Wines, which is now Stacked Tech, and it's essentially a single serve packaging company. So food and beverage packaging. Built all the packaging in-house. It's all custom. The bottling line, the line that actually put stuff into it, was actually custom. We actually built, not only were we filling liquid, we were filling food at one point, so built kind of a custom-made filler for additional applications. And that was kind of my first foray into entrepreneurship. And I think, what that looked like for me was the process of learning what an engineer did, and then discovering what a salesperson and a business owner does. And, they're two very distinct roles. And what that really caused me to do was really force me to really have to learn about selling and kind of get outside of my comfort zone in the selling process. So we were a consumer, food and beverage company. So we had a consumer product. It was in grocery stores. So we'd have to go into grocery stores and really hand sell, products to customers in aisles. So you got somebody walking up and down an aisle, and I'm coming up and tapping them. And I feel like doing almost this Tommy Boy, routine of, hey, like, have you seen this? Like, let me show you. And it was something I was never comfortable with. And, wanting the company to succeed forced me into that role. That kind of moved forward and I guess what I ended up seeing was a system that was really reliant on sales. So once you developed a product, the next part is getting the product to market. So in the case of food, the markets are grocery stores, and how you get food to those markets is via distributors. And what a distributor looks like is, you'd think a distributor is just trucks, right? What a distributor really looks like is trucks plus salespeople. And, so you go into these distributors and then, now you got to get your product in the market. Well, you're now reliant on these salespeople to then sell your product such that the trucks have something, to push in. And kind of what you quickly discover is that the salespeople are really only motivated to sell what sells easy. And what sells easy is the stuff that's sold before, or the stuff that's got enough money behind it, to make it viable to even take a shot at. And even then, it's relatively rare that those products make sense. So what ends up happening is you're paying, margin and commission to the sales force. Even if they sell your product, the product's got to get off the shelf. So generally, you're working with people that just will put it kind of anywhere, and you never get prime real estate. So the product doesn't really move. And really what you're faced with is, as a founder, you want your product to move. You want to get in as many stores as possible. And so you realize that you need to do it yourself. So you start going into stores and selling product in, whereby other people get commission on your work. You don't make any commission on that. The distributor salesperson who shows up, they end up making commission on your work. And then you're also working on getting product pulled off the shelf such that the retailer is happy. So you're in the store, getting customers to buy that product. Again, not earning any commission. It's all, top end, pie in the sky. Hopefully this thing will work. And yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. So you very quickly go from thinking that the product is the most important thing to maybe still knowing that the product is important and paramount, but really understanding that there's this whole system that you need to be aligned with in order to make it work. And that's tough. So that's kind of what I came in touch with. After that company's still around. I don't run it, but still around. I got more enamored with kind of the sales process and started up a sales application called Cheddar that was designed to make those third-party salespeople at the distributor that I was talking about more efficient, more effective, more transparent in data and what their work was and what they accomplished or didn't accomplish. And built an app that was focused around that to try to solve my problem that I had, and that succeeded and failed miserably at the same time. Got acceptance kind of in the market initially with a distributor kind of buying into it, but then really didn't have buy-in from the individual sales reps. And the people that we were asking to report the data didn't want to report the data. They had a system in place that they could make the money that they wanted with doing the amount of work that they wanted to do. And when we confronted them with our system, it wasn't something that they were really looking to do. So, kind of interesting how we ended up where we did, but the company didn't end up working and kind of shut it down and moved on. Yeah. So that was kind of my roads into sales and marketing. From there, I've really flipped industries more into the software space, where I've run a company for the last few years, focused on software development, and really just found that at the end of the day, in that world, building software is impressive, but it's not really the hardest part. The hardest part is the sell. The hardest part is convincing, a customer that the money you're asking for is worth it, that you can deliver on time and on budget, and that going with a cheaper solution is going to result in a cheaper product that, isn't going to make them happy. And, it's been an eye opener for me, what that sales process and that sales cycle looks like. So I've really worked hard to hone my skills in doing that. Have had some successes, some failures, as I think will always occur. And I think that's about it. So where I find myself today is, really focusing on sales in the software industry. And, one of the benefits I've had to kind of being in my role is I get contacted by outside third-party sellers multiple times every single day. I mean, it is, maybe you've heard kind of the rings of, I've been sitting here on my LinkedIn, which is in the background. I get hit up by all sorts of people, looking to sell me services all day long, specifically software development services. They see the company that I ran as an agency, and they think that, they can sell to an agency that then can sell forward to land the customer. And it's really given me an eye-opening experience on, what the software supply chain actually looks like, how things actually get done, how to make the most, out of your money, where the margin is, what's worth it, what isn't. And that's what we're going to be talking about on today's stream. So, so let's get into it here. I have no idea how long this is going to last. To be honest, I'm 15 minutes in. I don't know where I thought I would be, but like I said, this is kind of go one, so we'll see if it's something I continue doing. So let me pop down. We'll go through the ads here. I didn't organize my slide deck too great, but I'm just going to get to this slide. Oh, man. Well, can't exactly see that, but that's not going to know anything. So what this says is advice for novice sellers. And I've got 4 bullet points on here. So like I said, this might be a short live stream. Who knows? We'll see where it goes. But you know, I titled this thing advice for novice sellers. I think it's really important to realize, like, you know, what a novice seller is. If you think sales is about churn and just grind, I would argue you're a novice seller. I think that works. I think that is a style of sales. I think there is something there. I'm not going to say you can't do that and you can't make money doing that. And frankly, if you can do that and deal with the lifestyle and have success with that model, you know, hats off to you. That's not something that I could do. I think the reason I call it novice sellers, I think it's the easiest. I think it's the easiest way to jump in and start doing sales is just, you know, put in the effort, right? Put in the hours. And I guess it does feel like something to me that, like, you know, if I had no experience and if it was just, and I was given a quota, like, I would jump in and just, you know, go. So what this is trying to be advice for people that maybe find themselves in this just churn mentality of really, it's a numbers game. And I, you know, in some respect, I do agree sales is a numbers game, but, you know, I think it's important to think about those numbers. So let's say your close rate, let's say your average close rate is 10%, maybe. You know, I would argue that a measured person would have a higher close rate than a non-measured person, and that, you know, a measured person is going to have higher lead quality than a non-measured person. But let's just say it's 10%. It's probably lower than that, but let's just go with 10% for, you know, argument's sake. And let's say I want to make $10,000 a month. Just right. Easy numbers. Well, generally what you will find is the churn and burn, you know, how many contacts can I get through a day? What their sticker price that they're going to sell to is generally lower than somebody that's measured, all right? Because, and the reason is that it's not just coincidence. There's a reason. When people are when the customer is spending more money, they're going to move slower. They're going to look at more things. If I'm spending $2, you know, sure, like, here's $2. If I'm spending $20,000, well, I'm going to have a moment of pause. So higher ticket items tend to have longer sales cycles, which means inherently a seller cannot contact as many people. Okay? So you sell high ticket items, it's slower. You sell low ticket items, it's faster. Now, if we think about our commission structure, so let's say our commission structure is, 10%. I'm just going to go 10% because it'll be easy math. That's, you know, if you're selling something for 10%, I think that's low. I'd argue you should be making more, but let's just go with 10% because it's easy. So if I want to make 10 grand, a month, I need to be selling $100,000 of things every month in order to make my $10,000. Okay. So now we think about sticker price, and that churn and burn salesperson, let's say they're selling a monthly SaaS product, right? So, and let's say they're selling something for $10 a month. So they make $1 a customer. So now obviously there's accretion. So there's, over time, if I sold one this month and I sell one next month, well, as long as that first one stays on, I've got two, month two and so on. So it's additive, right? So, that is a pathway to get to selling little things every single month. It's a pathway. As long as your churn rate isn't higher than your close rate, you're great. You can make dollars. Now the question is, will the dollars justify themselves? I don't know. That depends on the product and the commission and kind of what you're putting forth. But you can see that, like, if I'm selling something let's say I'm selling something that's $100,000 one time. Let's say it's a one-time buy. That obviously, if I can close one person a month, like I'm making the same 10 grand. Now we might be like, well, how many people can spend, $100,000? Like there's all these what ifs. But what I found is I think at the end of the day, like once you've gotten past the layups, the time commitment to sell a big ticket item is not grossly more than that of selling a small ticket item. Like once you've kind of figured out the sell and you figured out the pathway and you figured out the triggers where, like, basically if the people I'm talking to, if $10 is a lot, I'm going to have to sell them and sell them hard. If I'm talking to somebody and for them $100,000 feels like $10 in their pocket, they're going to treat it like it's a $10 purchase. Now to me, it's not, but to them it is. And that's all that matters. So I found myself, I think if I can swim upstream and find, the people that are willing to buy something for a higher dollar value in kind of a sell cycle that feels like it's lower dollar value, that's a big win. And frankly, I think it's a big win for everybody. I know I'm focused maybe on myself for, how to put dollars in your pocket. But at the end of the day, like, a good salesperson needs to spend time learning. They need to spend time training. Like, and when I say training, I mean like training on products, like training on how to deliver value such that when you're talking to a customer, in real time, you can give them real factual information. That doesn't cost anything. The minute you got to bring engineering in to answer a question, there's a cost. If a salesperson can actually answer that question in the moment, man, that is huge. That is huge because you didn't have to get anybody else involved. You give real relevant information, and that cost really has to be accounted for. So the people that are buying these higher ticket prices, they should be excited that you're a knowledgeable salesperson. Like they should want to talk to a knowledgeable salesperson. They should want to do business with a knowledgeable salesperson. They should realize that they are paying commission for this knowledgeable salesperson. And like if they think that they're going to try to skirt that and that's a win-win, it may be a win-win short term. Like over time, it will erode and it will just go away. And so you may, your short-term thinking is going to lead to long-term negative results for, frankly, an industry. And that's going to take a long time, to recover from. Anyway, I was talking about the title here on Novice Sellers. So who knows how long this is going to go. So let's get in there and talk about these kind of 4 points. So number one, listen to the buyer. I think the number one thing that I've learned about sales is about listening. It is about quieting your mind and actually listening to what the other person's saying. Now, you can conduct a dialogue. You don't need to just sit there and be mute. When something's interesting, you can, bring it up. But I think there's a real deficiency on the amount that people listen. And most of the time we're listening. We're not really fully paying attention, not really fully there. And the more you can listen, the better you can listen, the more you can clue in on really understanding what the customer problem, the customer issue is. And I think that's probably the most important thing, is to really listen. Start listening. Stop, thinking about what you're going to say. Stop thinking about how can you convince them. Stop thinking about your sales points. Just listen. And that's kind of the number one thing that I would suggest, is to really focus and hone those listening skills. I don't know if I got anything else to say on that. I think you'll find, so if you get cold called, it's good practice. Next time you're on a cold call, next time you get cold called, rather than kind of picking up and hanging down, pick up and engage, okay? And use it as a listening exercise. And now, you can do this one of two ways. One, you can play around with and see if that person is listening to some of the things you say. Or you can go the direction of really, honing in and seeing if you can hear what they're saying. Depending on the person, you can go one direction or the other. But, my suggestion is those are kind of, they're freebie sales opportunities. And what you can, you're playing the customer in that role, but what you can do is see if you can really critically listen for what they're asking them about and ask them questions back. Really detailed questions. And then what you want to do is see if they listen. Just throw something out, say something different. See if they're actually listening to you. Try to knock them off their game. And I actually play that game a little bit because it gives me an opportunity to practice with really focusing on listening and not worried about if in the moment I say something dumb. This person's not, I'm never going to say yes to this person. It's just, it's a cold call. It's somebody I don't care about that's, engaging in business. And so I use it as an opportunity to kind of practice and hone my skills. All right, so let's jump to number 2. Care about the buyer's problems. What the buyer doesn't care about is what you're selling. They just don't. They don't care about what you're selling. What you're selling is a means to the end. It's a way to get something done and accomplished or off their books, or them to look good, or them to make more money, or whatever. They don't care about you. They don't care about your product, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't. You're selling to them. But you got to recognize that they don't care about what you have. They care about what it can do for them. And what it can do for them is solve their problem. So what you need to do is understand their problem fully. And the only way you're going to do that is by listening. But you really need to, focus on their needs, wants, and desires, and spend the relevant amount of time really understanding, well, what are the problems? Not don't tell me symptoms. I get it that this is resulting in that. What are the root causes? What are the What are the real issues that we're trying to solve? Now, a lot of buyers, will tell you, look, this is just what I want you to solve. Like, I don't care if that's what you think you need to know. This is what I'm going to tell you, and this is what I want you to solve. That's all right. There's no problem with that. That can be solved, right? But a lot of people will dig in and respect the fact that you spent the time to really understand their problem. Now, a lot of the times you'll actually spend a fair amount of time doing this stuff, and what a result is nothing. You'll have resolved. You'll come to a conclusion about what the buyer's problem is, and what the buyer will realize is, you have such broken down my problem to the point where, it's not important anymore for me to be talking to you, because you've solved it, and you figured out what my problem is, and I can do it with another solution. Sorry, I've got a message coming in here, so let me click over for a second. I'm on my LinkedIn, getting asked if I can respond to something. What's funny is I don't even know where this stream is posted on my LinkedIn. Let's check it out. Rahul, I'm trying to find where you've posted. Let's see. Nope. That's not it. Rahul, I can't find you. Let me see if I can... Let's see if I can find you this way. I guess I could be showing you guys this stuff. Sorry, I haven't live streamed before, at least not in this way. So this is fun. All right. Anyway. All right, back to it. That's fun. All right, so we talked about listen to the buyer. Oh, man, come on. Not needed any help. I don't know why you would message me and then not. Whatever. All right. Anyway. Cool. So let's talk about point number 4. Don't sell on price, sell on value. All right. So this is what I see most often with novice sellers sellers that are not comfortable with the market, sellers that are not comfortable with their value proposition, sellers that are not comfortable with the buyer's problems, and sellers that don't listen. They sell on price. We have the best price. The other thing they like to sell on is capabilities. We've got everything. We can do everything, right? So price and capabilities. I don't want to buy the cheapest thing. Like, you can always buy something cheaper. You know, I personally love to buy kind of the cheapest technology I can. That's pretty fun, buying the cheapest. I like to try to buy the cheapest laptop possible. See what I can kind of get away with to do my needs. So I run everything on a Chromebook because I can, and it's cheap, and it meets my needs at the right price. The thing is I can what I don't buy is I don't buy the cheapest Chromebook, right? I buy something that's reasonable. So I like a vibrant screen, reasonable keyboard, good mouse, something that's relatively fast. So I'm buying kind of the mid-high range of Chromebook. I'm not buying the cheapest Chromebook. If I was just cared about price and said what is the cheapest thing I can get, I wouldn't buy what I bought. I'd buy an ever cheaper Chromebook, right? Until I was getting something for free from secondhand, I guess. So I don't buy on price, and I don't think anybody buys on price. You can always get something cheaper. What people buy on is value, and what value is the mesh point of price and capabilities. Am I getting what I need? Am I getting what I need at a price I'm willing to pay? Not even the lowest price. Like oftentimes, if something's $50 more than another thing, like you buy it because it's sitting in front of your face and it's easy. Think about grocery shopping. Certain stores generally, Whole Foods is going to be more expensive than Trader Joe's, right? But once you're in Trader Joe's, are you comparing every single item you're buying there to Whole Foods? My gut tells me there's some items at Trader Joe's that are more expensive than they are at Whole Foods. I'm just betting it is. The other thing, I think the produce at some place like Trader Joe's is horrendous. But at Whole Foods, it's great. But yet because I'm at, this will tell you where I'm shopping, I guess. Because I'm already at Trader Joe's, I pick up my produce there because it's easy. And so in that case, I actually don't know pricing. I'm confident quality is lower. But I'm kind of willing to forego that, even if the price is the same, because of convenience. So what you really want to do is you want to sell on value. And, a value sale is, a value sale is about understanding the customer and being able to articulate why what you're selling, is the right solution for their needs. And the only reason you can do that is by, carrying out steps 1 and 2. So I think, you got to put the time in to really understanding the buyer, understanding the expectations of that buyer. If they're not open to, if we're shopping for laptops and they're not open to moving to to a new operating system and they're used to a Mac, well, like, good luck getting them to buy a Chromebook. Like, I just don't think it's worth it. You may be able to do it, but man, that is a lot of work. They'd probably be better off buying a lower end or a secondhand Mac and just calling it a day. And if they're not looking for something new, some new experience, they don't want to open their mind or open their eyes, they're closed. And that's okay, but you're not going to be able to sell them on whatever you're selling. So that's what we look for. We look for people that are open. We look for people that know what their values are. They know how they value different things. And that they're open-minded to having their mind changed. And if you can find that, you at least have a chance of a reasonable conversation. And if you can't, you don't. And that's kind of how I think it comes down to in a binary way. Like, there's no real middle ground. Now, that doesn't mean that when you have a chance, it doesn't mean you're guaranteed to land a sale. But if you don't have a chance, you might as well just hang up and move on, because it's wasted time and wasted opportunity. All right, the last one. Play the long game. Again, this is focused on kind of quote unquote novice sellers. It's focused on, talked about what a novice seller is, we focused on kind of what a novice seller does, this kind of churn and burn, type of environment. An experienced salesperson plays the long game, meaning once they've found those open buyers, they realize that often the purchase will not come immediately. May take 2, 3, 5, 10 months. And that whole time you're just waiting. You can do some follow-up, techniques to make sure you're top of mind and things like that. But the reality is you're kind of just waiting. You continue to engage. You can continue to provide value. And the balance act is to make sure you're not over-delivering value such that the customer continues to get what they want without ever having to purchase anything. And customers will do that. That is their number one intent, is to get everything from you for free, or get everything from you that they can, which will allow them to lower their prices or lower their spend elsewhere, or all sorts of different tricks to really try to cut costs. So you need to make sure you stay with it. You need to make sure you're constantly evaluating whether or not a customer is still a good customer to be talking to, whether or not you can be aligned on what value is, whether or not you still understand their problems, and whether their problems are still aligned with the solutions that you're able to provide. And you can only do that by continuing to listen and listen intently over time. So I think that is going to do it for this one. If you made it this far, I'm blown away. Congratulations. I'm actually going to stick on this stream for a minute and play around with this tool. I'm using a tool called Restream. You can see probably a little badge there in the upper right. I haven't paid for it, so I'm on the free trial. Just playing around with some different things that you can do in browser with broadcasting. Anyway, so I'm probably gonna sit here and play around, and if you'd like to join and enjoy the down tempo music, cool. If not, talk to you next time. Thanks.